There's just something about Cancer season, I think. Some of you might not love Cancer season. I'm a Cancer rising, so I really dig this energy. And what I love about it is I think, this duality. When the sun is in Cancer, we've got this solar energy and this kind of, watery nurture sort of energy. And the moon is at home in Cancer. That's its favorite sign to be in is Cancer. So we have like that moon sort of energy in that zodiac sign of Cancer, but the sun is in that sign. And I think that we can really see with the warmth of the season where we are in the northern hemisphere, the story of nurturing the earth and nurturing all of us with this warmth, right? Like this big warm hug that happens in the summer months. So today we are talking a little bit about some thought prompts or some journal questions for you for Cancer season. We know that you were born magical. We know that you are intuitive, and we know that you are brimming with everyday enchantment. Here at the Sisters Enchanted, we believe in intention, we believe in intuition, and we believe in everyday magic. Welcome in to the Expedition to Soul podcast. Welcome into today's episode of Expedition to Soul. I'm Sarah, founder of the Sisters Enchanted, and it's Cancer season. It's been Cancer season. The sun entered Cancer on the longest day of the year, the summer solstice, June 21st, and it's there for just a little bit more now. So it moves into our next sign, Leo, in about July 23rd, I believe, 22nd, 23rd, somewhere around there. The sun will move. And as I was, I started this by talking about how that Cancer energy is reminiscent of the moon, or they work together, right? The moon loves Cancer energy. It's very much at home there. And so I think when the sun is in Cancer for this 1 month of the year, it is this nurture sort of energy being applied to the sun as well. And the thing about the sun and the moon is we need both. We need that inner and that outer, that passive and that active energy. With the moon, we think about, how do we want to feel? What are my emotions around this? How do I intend to be? It's very energetic. But when I say the word energy, I mean it in terms of your energy, like the energy of your essence, that which can't be seen. And then with the sun, that's that external sort of energy. It's the energy of doing, of getting out there and making your goals happen. And with Cancer season, we have the sun in that more nurturing sort of energy. And in our model that we teach here, this is where we do shadow work, is during these summer months. The summer season is poised for shadow work. And I love that we get brought into the summer season with our Cancer energy. It's that like home sort of nurture yourself, nurture your inner child energy, mother yourself, remother yourself kind of energy. So it's just beautiful all around. And I'm a Cancer rising. So I, you know, I like this time of year. It's like it's my essence, I guess. No, I don't know what I'm talking about. My essence. I don't know what my essence is, but I think it's more Sagittarius, which is my sun sign. Anyway, I am being distractible. So with this Cancer season though, I wanted to share with you some journal prompts or thought prompts for the expansion archetypes. Now, if you don't know your expansion archetype, you're going to want to take our expansion archetype quiz. You can take the quiz at signup.thesistersenchanted.com/quiz, and we will be sure to link that up in all of the relevant places. But take that quiz and find your archetype. Now, if you are tied for a couple archetypes, then you'll want to look at the seer energy. And if you are tied for 2 at the top, pick the one that seems most relevant for you right now, or look at them both. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about those archetypes and also give you these prompts. So if you are a mapper, and actually, let me back up for a second. If you don't know your archetype at all, or just listening to this and you're like, I don't have time to take a quiz right now, any of these are relevant to anybody because we do have all of the archetypes within us. So pick the prompt that you want to work with right now. But if you know your archetype, go ahead and start there. So the first one is the mapper that we're going to talk about here. Remember, the mapper is aligned with the energy of Earth and with winter, which is really the opposite of the energy that we are in right now. And it's one of the ones that the mapper and wanderer are what most people at the Sisters Enchanted get as their result. So the question for the mapper during this shadow season of summer is, where did I retreat because I didn't know the next step? So as you think about this last 6 months of the year, so the first half of the year has gone by, where did you retreat because you didn't know the next step? That's a great question to ask yourself. It's a great shadow work question to ask yourself. One of the things that we do in our Expedition to Soul program is talk about moving through your shadow stuff, right? We talk about going through the dark forest and coming out the other side, even though you don't know what's in there, right? And so this is one of those kinds of questions for the mapper or for anybody. Where did I retreat because I didn't know the next step? That's a great question to ask yourself for the previous half of the year that we've been through, is where has this shown up for you? With the wanderer, I would ask you, where did I retreat because I felt like I wasn't enough? So where the mapper wants the plan, wants the lay of the land, the wanderer is always trying to prove their worth to themselves or to others. So the wanderer is asking, where did I retreat because I felt like I wasn't enough? And I'd just ask you that question too, no matter what your archetype is. Is there a place where you retreated or held yourself back because you felt like you weren't enough? The adventurer, where did I retreat because I acted or spoke without thinking and then retreated? So the adventurer is aligned with the summer energy, which is what we're in right now in this sort of shadow work time. And our adventurer wants to know, where did I retreat because I acted or spoke without thinking? Our dreamer, where did I retreat because the present wasn't what I thought it would be? So for the dreamer, where did I retreat because the present wasn't what I thought it would be? So the dreamer can get very stuck in the past, the future, the kind of what ifs, and how that is impacting the present that they're living right now. So the dreamer would want to ask about retreating as a result of the present not being what they thought it would be. And then our seer, our fifth archetype, where did I retreat because I was seen as my most vulnerable, authentic self? So the seer will retreat because they feel seen, and that will make them back in. Now, the theme here is retreat because the arc or the character of the zodiac with the Cancer is the crab. So the crab carries its home on its back, right? But it's also its defense mechanism. Like it will retreat inside of it when it feels vulnerable. And so here we have the mapper who feels vulnerable when they don't know the next step. The wanderer feels vulnerable when they don't feel like they're worthy or enough. The adventurer feels vulnerable when they realize that they've done something impulsively. The dreamer feels vulnerable when they are like in the present, not thinking about the past and the future, right? So the past and the future attachments is what like keeps them feeling safe because they don't have to deal with the present. So then they're vulnerable when they're in the present. And the seer feels vulnerable when they are seen as their authentic selves, and that makes them retreat. So what we want to do here is think about this essence of Cancer and where are we retreating in our lives because we feel vulnerable. And so then we just go home into ourselves or into the regular life that we know. We don't grow into a new different shell. We don't move shells. I don't know what kind of crab we're talking about here. A crab that moves shells or grows its own or whatever. But we just stay in what we know because it feels safe. Like we don't like feeling vulnerable, but it's through the vulnerability that we grow when we get to the other side. And if you look at your life as like one big magic spell that you're casting, the greatest thing to do is take action that's outside of your comfort zone and get vulnerable, right? That's where you will see things change for you, whatever it is that you want to change, or feel more confident, feel more authentic in your own self. But if we're just hiding out like the crab in our shell, that doesn't happen. So this is a great month to do that shadow work. And there's these different prompts for each of the archetypes. So again, if you don't know yours, check out signup.thesistersenchanted.com/quiz to get your hands on that quiz. But these are great questions for anybody to explore. You know, just where are you retreating in your life? Where in the last 6 months did you retreat because you felt vulnerable? And if for a mapper, it's because you didn't know the next step, the wanderer, because you just felt like you weren't enough, the adventurer because you thought you were being impulsive, the dreamer because being in the present moment can feel very vulnerable, and with the seer, being seen, being visible, being your authentic self and acknowledges that can feel very vulnerable. So where did you hold yourself back and retreat because of that vulnerability so far this year? And what can you learn about yourself from it, right? Do a little bit of shadow work there. Now, if you are ready to expand out of this comfort zone, be sure to check out our Expedition to Soul program, which is starting soon. It is a literal, I can't even, like, the feedback we get from people who've taken it and the changes they've made and seen in themselves and their lives is truly amazing. So when you sign up for Expedition to Soul, you're going to learn all about the expansion archetypes. You're also going to go on the Expedition to Soul adventure with us. It's online. You can do it at your own pace or do it in real time with us. And we have all kinds of magic summer camp virtual programming to go along with it. So it's going to be a really fun week of activities starting July 17th. And you can watch everything on a replay in your own time or live with us. You definitely don't want to miss out because I don't know if we're going to repeat the magic camp again. So you want to check that out too. And we'll put the link for that around this podcast as well. But for now, I would love to hear from you. Find us on social media or email or whatever, wherever, and let us know where you have retreated so far this year. And what did you, these thought prompts, these journal prompts, whatever you want to call them, like, what did they make you realize about yourself and how you're retreating? And what are you going to do about it now that you know it? That is the question. All right, y'all. Thank you for hanging out with me today on this shorter episode of the Expedition to Soul podcast. I'm Sarah, founder of the Sisters Enchanted. And until next time, I hope that you have an enchanted rest of your day ahead. If you liked this episode of the Expedition to Soul podcast, please rate, review, subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, it will really help us spread everyday magic, intention, and intuition to the masses and helps us so much as a small business. Be sure to hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. There are new episodes every Tuesday and astro forecasts for the week ahead every Friday. If there's any topics you'd want to hear, anything you want us to dive deeper into, shoot us an email at magic@thesistersenchanted.com. And as always, thank you so much for listening and being part of the community here at the Sisters Enchanted. And we'll see you in the next episode.